everybody, and welcome to Module 3. If we head on into the module, we see we have 3 items: a checklist, a welcome page, and an activities page. And everything that you need should be in these pages. The checklist, if you do all these things, you'll find that you're going to do just fine in this module. It's always a good idea to go check out the course plan for that big picture view of the semester. Looking in Module 3, which is a 2-week module from September 14th to September 27th, I can see we've got 2 assignments. We have something due in a Dropbox called Design-Based Learning, and we have a discussion, Module 3, talking with the experts. So those are our 2 points-bearing assignments. So let's go take a quick look. If I go on to my activities page, you want to read the introductory materials, watch this video on design thinking. You're going to read these instructions. This is your Dropbox assignment, and this is part 2 of that Dropbox assignment, and then this is the discussion on talking with experts. So let's drill down a little bit into this. What this module focuses on is lesson planning using technology with an emphasis on design. So what you're going to be doing, your sort of product that you're going to make, is a lesson plan that you're going to submit to the Dropbox called Design-Based Learning. And if you go inside of that Dropbox, you can actually read the instructions that are inside of it. There's also a book chapter that I want you to read. Now, when you download this PDF, it's actually got 2 chapters in it. It's got a chapter 3 and a chapter 8 from a book, the name of which escapes my mind at the moment, but it's a really good technology integration textbook. You only need to read chapter 3. That's the first thing to let you know. You're going to open up a Word document, and you're going to design a lesson that requires students to collaboratively design digital objects. Things like digital images, posters, videos, animations, games, movies, music, etc., using technology tools. To get yourself started on this, though, because sometimes it's kind of hard just to say, oh, okay, random assignment about designing technology tools. What you really want to go do is think about your content area and go to the Georgia Performance Standards. There we go, finally. And find your content area, your grade level, and read those standards, and then from there try to pull in that technology piece to support learning whatever it is that standard is trying to get students to learn. And another place to go for good ideas, or not really ideas, but kind of a feeling for the types of things you might want to try to get your students to be doing, go to the ISTE NETS S, the National Educational Technology Standards for Students, which were linked in the very first module, but you may have forgotten about them. The ISTE NETS for Students, and read those, and these will really guide you in sort of the ideals for what we want students to be doing with technology. So go ahead and use those 2 things. So your Georgia Performance Standards are super important to inspiring a lesson that's actually meaningful, a lesson that I guess is legitimate. Meaningful is not the right word. It's legitimate, rather than having you pull something random out of your imagination. So that's a good place to look for grounding it in legitimacy, I guess. And then the ISTE NET standards are the ideals for how we use technology. And another place, of course, that's good for that is the partnership. I'll just type in P21. The Partnership for 21st Century Skills. If you read the framework, where is it? There it is. The Framework for 21st Century Learning. Check that out. That should also give you some ideas. So if you download this framework, that should also kind of stir some ideas for the types of things that you want to be trying to achieve in the lesson. In addition to that, you're going to have plenty of ideas stirred by simply reading the Chapter 3 PDF. So you've got a lot of material to look at. In your lesson that you're going to create, you're going to provide the subject and the topic. So like math, what's the topic, quadratic equations, whatever the topic may be. Who are your learners? And with that target learners piece, just describe, kind of just give me an idea of what students you're designing this for. I know that you may not have a real classroom that you can design for, and I don't expect you to come up with profiles for 30 different students. Just kind of give me a quick description of who the learners are. Your design tasks. What do you want your target learners to be making in this lesson? Describe the digital object they're required to design. What technology tools are they going to be using? What are the steps the learner should go through? So what's the process? And then the assessment. How are you going to collect evidence of their learning? And I would like for you to push yourself to try to design performance assessment. The one challenge with my asking you to do that is that for a lesson plan, sometimes it's hard to come up with performance assessment. But I want to see what you guys come up with. See if you can come up with something more than a multiple choice test or an essay. Essay can be considered performance assessment, but I want to see you push beyond traditional assessment. See if there's some way that you can get students to show their learning in another way. Okay, so that is the lesson plan. Then you're going to, once you've created that in Word, uploaded it into the Dropbox, and submitted it, you're going to share it on the Peer Feedback Module 3 Design-Based Learning Forum. You're going to, after you share it, you can also go look at two peers' plans and give them feedback. Finally, you're going to engage in the Talking with Experts discussion board, which is kind of fun. You're going to go to the EdTech Doctor webpage. You're going to pick a podcast to listen to. There's all kinds of cool looking podcasts. I highly recommend anything by Abby Brown. He's really awesome. No, but they're all pretty awesome. I haven't listened to all of them, but I've listened to several of them. They're really good. Of course, there's my husband too. He's down at the bottom. You might enjoy that one. I haven't even listened to that one yet. So you're going to pick an episode. You're going to listen to it carefully, taking notes, and you're going to share 3 things that you think your peers need to know from this episode. And then go onto the board after you've posted your initial sort of sharing of your three or more things. It can be more than 3 if you're like super pumped. And then respond to 3 peers' posts about the things that they learned. And if you want, go listen to the podcast they listen to. And just the learning will keep going on and on and on. But the very first thing, okay, so I've kind of explained what you're going to be doing, but the very first thing in this module, on this activities page, that I think is a really, I don't know, I thought it was a good way to start this module, was on design thinking, which is a pedagogical approach where we get students to solve real-world problems using design thinking. And these design problems are ill-structured, they're difficult to solve, it's hard to know when there's a right answer, but they transfer to the real world, they have authenticity, and research shows they can be motivating to students because they are more realistic than, for example, filling out a worksheet on a topic. So check out this video. I think it's 11 minutes long. It's pretty concise. She gives a lot of good examples of how she challenges her students to do design thinking, both in Colorado and in a project she had done in Africa. And see if, I mean, it's possible that in your lesson that you make, that you could incorporate design thinking. You might get motivated to try to do that. If you really like this video, check out the second one here called Design Thinking for Every Endeavor. They were both really good, and it was actually kind of hard for me to decide which one to feature, but I didn't want to make you watch both of them. But they're both good. A couple of teachers talking about how they get their students to think outside of the box. All right, guys, let me know how I can help, and you guys have a good time with Module 3.